How's it going, everyone? We're here for this week's Rust update. It's the big monthly update. This brings on a force wipe for all servers, but not a force wipe for blueprints. Facepunch has not decided to officially wipe blueprints this month, so that's going to be dependent on whatever server you play on. Also, the skins were released early, not today, but yesterday if you haven't already noticed. So we're going to start out, this is the performance update. This is something everyone has been begging for. So that is what you finally got. They spent a month, actually 5 weeks to be honest, because it was one of those weird white periods, of just fixing the performance overall of the game, and they've done a really good job. But we're going to touch on that later. Let's touch on a few of the physical things and a few quality of life changes. So we have one new physical item this wipe, and it is the smoke grenade. You throw one of these puppies and it obscures vision for about 45 seconds. Once you're inside, you can't really see anything at all. Now, these are not craftable or researchable. You must buy them at the Bandit Town. If you go to the black market, you'll see they are available for 10 scrap each at 10 at a time, and that is how you will be getting them. To make it so that you don't confuse it with the airdrop signal, if you have not seen the airdrop signal, now is a little bit different looking. As you can see, it's got the purple and a little stripe on it, and it's got a little airplane, so they're pretty easily distinguishable apart from each other there. Another thing people have been begging for is putting boxes underneath the repair table, and you now can. You can also do other combinations, like maybe a campfire or any other pretty much small deployables, as well as the barbecue can now have a small box put under it as well, which is quite nice. In addition, we'll cover farming a little bit better later, but farming items now no longer have health to be, not so annoying, and they stack up to 10 now, so you can kind of spam eat. The thing is, you'll see that health goes up much more slowly at time, and you'll see that very much so with this med pack, and you'll see it's going much slower. This will help with people kind of like spamming and, healing a little too fast in battles. Should make PvP a little more interesting, and they've come out and said, well, this means now the med pack's even more useless than it was before, so we're going to be doing some rebalancing to the meds in this next coming month. So look for that, guys. This next upcoming month, there'll be kind of some rebalancing to meds and how all of that works as well, so that's pretty cool. But another quality of life thing is, how many times have you been a couple weeks into the wipe, you killed your neighbor, and all of their crap is still outside? Well, that's because these were all still using the old timers from before the upkeep and proper new decay system. So these have been updated and should now decay at the same rate as high external walls outside of a TC. Now, if they're still a DC, they will not decay. So that is a little thing to pay attention to there. But that is definitely a super nice thing that needed to be done. And yeah, it's good to see these kind of things in game. But let's go ahead and check out some of the new stuff that was talked about in the dev blog, and then we'll hop into performance. If you guys haven't seen some of my other videos, you should see now that there's the new L96 military-grade sniper rifle coming into the game. They're officially showing it off in the dev blog this time. Tom did an amazing job on making it, and the corresponding 8x scope. It does not come with the 8x scope, and this 8x scope may be usable with other weapons. It is a separate attachment, so we'll have to see how that goes. I don't know if the 8x will be craftable. I know the sniper itself won't be. There's no talk of how it will spawn or anything like that yet. It just didn't make it into this month, unfortunately. So we'll have to wait probably till next month to see it get implemented into the game, but definitely going to be a really cool item, new weapon. Always something cool to kind of play around with. I know a lot of people are terrified of brew camping and all that other junk, but I'm not going to get into that today. We're just checking out how cool these things are. So on the other subject of other new stuff, there's going to be new gloves. So we've got these 3 new gloves right here. We've got the burlap, the road sign, and the tactical glove. And so I'm assuming, burlap is, goes basic burlap set. The road sign goes with road sign, of course. Leather, I don't know where it really fits in there. And then tactical is meant to maybe go with the metal armor. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm not sure. I mean, metal armor doesn't even have a set of pants, so maybe that's something coming soon, I really hope. But yeah, you can see them right here, each model kind of with, something else as they're holding it in the hand. And they look really good. I think the team did a really good job on it. It's definitely something I am looking forward to seeing, some little more options. Now, all we really need to do is have that extra inventory slot so we can wear boots and gloves. Let's not even get started on that one. So, yes, let's tack back a little bit onto farming. So farming, eventually there's going to be this guy right here, the composter. This composter will allow us to make kind of like compost bombs, more or less, as well as, of course, obviously compost to do farming. This is something probably a little further out and not something we'll be seeing soon, but I did confirm with Helk a couple weeks ago when I asked him that there will be a way to alternate, kind of, instead of going out mining sulfur, you'll be able to make like a compost bomb alternative by farming. So that's kind of a cool little thing. Of course, that's probably out far in the future, but definitely something neat to kind of look at. So I was pretty excited about that one there. In addition to that, your grown vegetables will actually stick around for about 48 hours before dying, so you actually have a little more chance to pick them, and farming is starting to become a little more viable, and that's something that will be worked on there, which is definitely exciting. So the big event here is the cargo ship. So this is the big thing they've been working on besides all the amazing performance updates. Cargo ship is going to be an event. It's going to come in and circle the island, and you're going to have a chance to boat up to it, mount on there, and start fighting the scientists. So the boat itself actually is a really cool thing, and it just looks amazing. We've got some more pictures here, courtesy of the team, and it actually has a name. It is the Lazarus. That's a really cool name. And the shipping vessel basically delivers stuff to the Cobalt personnel, or the, as we know them, the scientists, and you can intercept it. So that's kind of a cool thing. And as of right now, it just kind of spawns, it's there, and you can mount it. Their goal is to get it to have it actually continually moving. Well, right now, if you've ever tried to stand up in a boat while it's moving, you fly off. So that's something they're currently working on coding. They've already got some progress done on it, and that's something they're going to put into the game, so that way you can stand on boats. And this opens up the idea of not only just this event working to where you can walk around on a moving boat, but also larger rafts that we could possibly build things on, which I know is something the team would like to see. So that is a really awesome possibility. That also means we could stand in the back of a truck bed when they put vehicles in, stand in an air balloon while it's up in the sky, that kind of thing. So the Chinook, let's say, a modded server, you can fly the Chinook, you'd actually be able to walk around in the cargo area. So that's kind of one of those things they're working on, and that might take some time, but they said the cargo ship might be good to go next month. Along with it, we should see the Rib event launching side by side. I believe Hulk said he'd like to get both of those out simultaneously just because they're kind of related. And if you don't know what the Rib event is, it's basically going to be scientists patrolling the seas on it, and they're going to be, kind of like scanning the junk piles on land. These guys will be going around in a Rib boat, and that will be your way of getting it, is you'll have to defeat the scientists and take the boat. But as of for this month, it looks like they'll still just spawn around the map, so have fun with them while you can. So that's kind of the update on the boat side. There's also still the paddle boat, or little like canoe. No word on what's up with that. I think they're working on kind of getting the paddling animation, since it's not motor driven. That's something that takes a little bit longer to get in, but we'll see how that goes. So that's pretty much covering the boats and so forth. We'll also be seeing a new game at the Bandit Town, the slot machine. This thing looks awesome. Tom has done an amazing job at it, and if you look at the top of it, there's kind of like a blank sign. That blank sign will show you what the costs of the game will be. That's still yet to be decided, but we may see this as early as next month's update, and we'll be having a new game type in the casino, so that will be super awesome. I look forward to that. The whole casino thing is definitely an awesome idea, and I think a lot of people have really been having fun with it, so it'll be neat to see some other games. I'm sure if this goes over well, we might see a few others as well. In addition to Bandit Town, they now have a recycler, as you'll see right here. So everyone asked, how come there's no recycler at Bandit Town? Well, now there is. And a nice little performance update to the recycler itself is, someone can come over and click on it and it turns it off. And then they can click on it, turns it off, clicks on it, turns it off. And someone can just screw with you while you're trying to use it, and it gets really annoying. Well, now only the operator who's currently in it can turn it on and off, and you can't be spam, annoyed by it anymore, which is another little tiny quality of life thing, which is definitely awesome. Moving on, in addition to all of this sweet stuff, CCTV is going to be something maybe a little bit sooner than we thought. So Hulk has been doing some early testing on having player-owned cameras, and basically you deploy a laptop onto a table, and you're then able to cycle through placed cameras nearby. So the initial test's been going well, and we might be able to actually play and use it in-game as early as next month. So that's a really cool thing there. I look forward to seeing it. This would be the first iteration of what they call RustNet, which is eventually kind of the internet on the Rust Island. So that's going to be something very exciting, at the point where later on you can like rent out cameras and stuff to people, which is some of their ultimate ideas behind it. So that's definitely something really, really cool. With all of these changes and little optimizations, there's been a lot of work on the AI. So we're going to go ahead and pause for a second. We're going to go take a look at the military tunnels, where a lot of that has been applied. Alright guys, so we're at the military tunnel, and I am in God mode, of course, obviously, to show this, so let's go ahead and damage him a bit. You gonna... Nope, you're just gonna sit there. Alright, so let's drop into the actual tunnel itself and see if we can't get some of these guys to react a certain way. Let's see here. We got him. Alright, you've been shot. Come on. Come on now. Oh, there we go. Boom! And they fragged me. Let's see. Can we get him to take cover? There we go. There he goes. Is he gonna crouch? Come on, man. I'm shooting you in the leg. Crouch. There we... Oh. No, he's just backing away. Well, alright, he's crunched. But they now are supposed to crouch and take cover. They kind of do it on and off. I think it still needs a little bit of work on it. But they now throw frag grenades at you. This could be... Eventually, they could throw flares. A flare could, you know, show you where they, you know, show them where you are. And they kind of like seek you out with it. Other than just flashlights, there's a possibility of them even using maybe smoke grenades or something in the future. Who knows? If there's other grenades added later on, like maybe flashbang or incendiary or something like that, that could also be a tool for them as well. So that's a pretty cool thing, but they've been working really hard on improving the AI. They've implemented some of that to the military tunnels already, and there's some good improvements. I definitely say they're a little bit harder as I've ran through here. It's just something you're going to have to check out for yourself, but it's definitely still a great work in progress. AI is definitely a tough thing to tackle, but it seems like the team is doing a really great job at that. Alright, so on to the performance, as this is called the performance update. So the Bandit camp has seen quite a bit of performance fixes, and a lot of it was due to kind of like the new stuff like fog and the trees and so forth. So they've worked on the LOD distances and so forth, and they've just tackled down most of these things that were bogging down people's, CPU issues. And some of them, they worked on a little bit of, I guess, the GPU overhead, so there's going to be some more performance. They basically are just trying to get all of that working. They said their goal for the patch is to get 50 to 60 frames at 1920 by 1080 on a GTX 1060, you know, so that's kind of their on default settings. So that was their goal. I think they feel they got pretty close to that, so hopefully everyone should see a nice performance update. They've done some work on things called graphics jobs, so over the past month they've made a huge collective effort to eliminate a majority of client-side and CPU performance bottlenecks. And that should see a lot more performance fixes for everyone as well. They've also done some work on a thing called garbage collection, and basically they just went through and found a lot of stuff that was causing stuttering caused by the garbage collecting system, and they have used this to go ahead and fix up ambient sounds, image effects, prefab pooling, and like HUD items like name tags, team indicators, and this and that, which were causing stuttering issues as more came into the view of players. This should help greatly decrease the amount of stuttering that people have been seeing. Another thing that was causing a lot of performance issues was skins. Andre worked on them pretty much all month, and he worked to where all the workshop skins are now in the install of the main game. That was done back in August, so that's not really a huge issue anymore with the big downloading. They're also limiting both the download size and amount of disk space which could be used by them, and they compressed it and just made it all better. Future skin release and so forth will be downloaded from the workshop every time the new release comes out, and it should just really help with that quite a bit, which is nice. They've also been working on tree meshes and prefab pooling. By doing this, they're just, again, lots of optimizations there. Camera movement is another thing that Andre worked on. Rust uses a physics-based camera character controller, I guess. And so that means that both a player and a camera move in intervals. And I guess this was a problem that it only ran at 32 frames per second to avoid excessive CPU issues. And so they went ahead and worked on some stuff. They got around it, and now they should be both moving and rotating in every frame. This should make things look smoother, and it should be less work on your hardware, which is an awesome thing. So that's going to help with frame rate as well. They've also worked on terrain quality. Diego's done some work, and these optimizations have worked with kind of like the shaders and so forth. And it turns out then when they upgraded to Unity recently, lowering the graphics quality had no effect on the terrain resolution, which means it wasn't taking full advantage of lowering graphics, which means if you had a crappier computer and you were trying to run on lower settings, you really weren't when it came to terrain quality. So that's something that's now been fixed. They've worked on the density and downscaling, and that should be something that, again, helps really well with low-end graphics cards. That's where you should see the most performance. They've also done a little more work on tree imposters. Tree imposters are kind of basically what you see in the distance when things are far enough away from you to where, you know, you still visually see them, but they're not rendering as much on your computer. They've worked on that. It should be a great CPU and GPU performance, and they're saying it should have essentially eliminated the CPU cost of those. So that's actually a really cool thing right there as well. Another thing being worked on is atmosphere volume improvements. So last month when they introduced the Bandit camp, they added, you know, the atmosphere fog, and that was causing a lot of people issues. This is something they've worked on, and the transition of it popping in and out and how it affects your computer should be a lot better. They said the entire volume should fade after about 500 meters and then goes away until it's no longer visible, and this should get rid of that weird edges and also that kind of abrupt kind of lag of someone coming into it. So that's a cool thing right there. In addition, they have now added occlusion culling. You'll see that this is now a new option in your actual settings menu. So we're going to pop back into game right here. And if you go to graphics, let's see, it should be under here. And occlusion culling. So experimental down here. There's now grass shadows, contact shadows, and occlusion culling. And you'll see this enables hiding of objects behind walls, disable if you notice any lag or frame rate drops when rotating your camera. So that's just pretty much one of those things that, you know, you're going to have to see, does it help you, does it not? Try disabling it and just see if it makes a difference. If it doesn't, then, you know, leave it back on. That's kind of the thing right there. And that is pretty much the majority of the stuff worked there. They've done some other stuff with ambient performance and so forth, but yeah, that's pretty much the gist of the big stuff right there. Now we'll hop back into the menu here, and you'll see one more thing. There's an options, and you can now, under censorship, you can hide signs. This is something nice for streamers. You can go ahead and turn this on and off. When on, signs will disappear blank. That way, if someone puts something racist, sexual, or something that would ruin your video or stream, or you just don't want to see, this will hide it, and you won't have to get in trouble or get your channel banned or lose monetization and that kind of thing. So that's a nice thing for content creators right there. But that pretty much does it, guys. It's been a big update. I know it doesn't seem like a lot of content, but they did what you wanted. Everyone asked, we want performance. Rust needs to run better. It's out of early access. This is crap, blah, blah, blah. Well, they did it. They spent an entire month on it, like everyone has been asking for. I know some people want to see 3 or 4 months, but you have to remember they're always working on stuff in the background, and whenever you add new stuff, it always does break something. But they spent a really good month of really knocking out a lot of problems. They did some quality of life stuff, and they still managed to get us a new item, and they've almost finished 2 events and several other things, including, you know, new casino item, a new gun, all that kind of stuff. We got some great stuff to look forward to next month, and I think the team has just done an exceptional job with this 5 weeks that they had to work with. So that's going to do it, guys. Thanks for watching. We will see you next time for some more Rust updates. Keep an eye on the channel, and don't forget to check out the skin video. They actually came out a day early yesterday, so we've got that popped up as well. We'll see you next week. You guys have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for watching.